Welcome to Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, prescribed by Dr. Harrison. I got a message for you. You're not cool, bro. Or you're not as cool as you think you are. That's kind of what I want to talk about today. I consider myself a cool guy, and I grew up and thought I was kind of cool in high school. I probably thought I was cooler than I was, right? As we all do. But there is a tendency when you have a kid to want to kind of impose your coolness upon your child. That's kind of geeky, or maybe that's kind of weird. Like, I don't really know anything about that. Like, why aren't you listening to this? Why are we watching this ridiculous show? Like, this isn't funny, but they're cracking their heads up. I mean, they're just laughing and having a great time. You got to remember, you're not as cool as you think you are. And you're not as cool as you probably once were. And to your kids, you might have some cool components and some cool stuff you do, but they don't look at you for the barometer of what's cool and what's not. Think about when you were a kid. Did you think your parents were cool? Maybe in certain situations, or maybe the way they handled things, but their dress, their style, their music that they listened to, most of the time you didn't fall in line with it because it's not what you and your peers were doing in the time period and context in which you were growing up. I mean, times are different. They've changed, right? I grew up on soul music, on R&B, but as I got into my own music, I started listening to more hip hop and rap. I can't stand what's on the radio today, but the kids love it, and it's for them. It's not meant for me. And I can say, oh, that's not real music. Let me pop this in and I'll show you what real music is. You know what I sound like? I sound like that dad who's talking about, I walked 4 miles uphill backwards in the snow with no shoes. We ate soup with a fork, right? Like, that's what you sound like. So stop trying to impose your level of coolness upon your kids, because quite frankly, it doesn't matter to them, right? What's cool to them has nothing to do with you, okay? It has to do with what's going on in their lives, what's going on with their peers, what's going on in the specific time period they're growing up in. The other thing is, think about too how certain trends, it's a circular fashion, right? I mean, what was hot back in the 80s and what was hot back in the early 90s is starting to be trendy again. I see people with cross colors. I saw this kid the other day walking with a bandana, circular glasses, a turtleneck, a chain, and a fanny pack over his shoulder, looking like Bobby Brown. And back in the day, that might have been cool for me, but now I'm like, that's not cool at all. You look ridiculous. So think about all the things you thought were cool growing up that now as an adult, you're like, that's kind of ridiculous. I can't believe I wore shorts, overalls, right? Or overall shorts, even with one strap or 2 straps off, even though I loved it, and a rayon colorful shirt that, I called silk, even though it was rayon, right? And now you would never see yourself in a situation like that. So allow your kids to express themselves in dress, in language, in their music tastes. Now, obviously, there's going to be some boundaries. I'm not going to let a kid go out basically wearing nothing, or if we got to go to a special occasion or function or they have a school uniform, they've got to abide by the rules. But give them a chance to add their own flair, their own cool, right? It's about them. It's not about you. When you try to impose your level of cool as the barometer on them, you're making it about yourself. You're making it about how you're worried about how it's going to come off to others with respect to you as the parent, and that being your child. Who cares? You're older. That's not for you to decide anymore. And now while some things you don't want your kid involved in that seem cool today, that's totally understandable. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the little stuff. My son really likes watching gamers on YouTube play. And I don't understand it, right? Because 1, I didn't really grow up as a gamer. I was always playing outside. 2, you're watching somebody play a game? Like, come on, bro. What is that? Like, turn this. But that's what everyone's into at his age right now. That's the cool thing to do, and the kids really enjoy it, right? The music, like I talked about. What is this mumble rap stuff or this other stuff? But that's not made for me. It's made for the younger generation, and that's what's cool to them. So let them have their time. You had yours. You just sit back and make sure they're not doing anything to put themselves in harm's way or to hurt themselves in any kind of way, right? Cool for me was tattoos. Now it's become taboo because everybody's got them. But if my kids want to get them when they're older, or if they don't, I don't care. It should have no bearing on anything that does with my dealings with them. So let them be them during their time in context of the history that they're growing up in. Because your cool level went out the window a long time ago. And as those kids get older, it's just going to keep floating further and further and further away. It's okay. They don't have to look at us as cool. We can still think we're pretty cool ourselves. But don't impose that on them. All right, that's Doc's Daily Dose for Dads. Don't forget to hashtag Doc's Daily Dose for Dads, hashtag 4D. Check out all social media at rebirthbx. Hit the website, rebirthbx.com. We're also on Apple Podcasts and Google Play Music. I'll get back to you guys tomorrow with some more interesting topics.